What if you could step out of the day to day and see your business from a whole new perspective? Welcome to Above the Business, where we empower you to rise above the daily grind and embrace a higher way of business ownership. It's time to build your business by design. Hey, everyone. Well, I've talked about this tactic before, and I want to share it with you again because it just came up recently in a conversation I was having with someone. And so sometimes we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught something new. And so this is a kind of an example of that specifically. And so I'm calling this episode the once per week meeting with yourself. In other words, what we actually call it is Sunday night planning. But I want to do a deeper dive into, and I'll try to keep this to less than 10 minutes or so episode, but the importance and the value of actually planning out your week and what are some of the things that you actually do in that session. Now, I'll share with you that there's a template that you can use. If you go to blueprintos.com/assets, and then you'll be able to see the Sunday night planning template on there for you to be able to access. But let's talk about, before we get into tools, let's talk about maybe philosophically why we need to do this. So you've heard me say structure, process, and routine. And as entrepreneurs, small business owners, we desired freedom, which is why a lot of times why we started our business, freedom or flexibility. And so anything that looks like structure or process and routine, we can often push against that. Now, some of you, I did an episode called The Discipline That I Wish I Had just recently. And so what I'm talking about is, though, somewhat similar to discipline, but I look at it a little bit differently. So structure, process, and routine. Well, what's an example of that? And I believe that this is it. Now, we talk about communication rhythms with your team, and those are different things that you do. So those are like your one-to-ones and your weekly team meetings that you do. But this meeting is specifically with yourself. And this is roughly a 60-minute meeting. It can go longer than that over time, depending on the complexity of your business, how many locations you possibly have, or how many businesses that you may be running. Many of you may be multipreneurs that are out there. And so that can go over 60 minutes, but traditionally it never goes over 90 minutes specifically for me. So what are some of the things that we do in this Sunday night planning? Well, I'll get there in just a second. Let's talk about when you actually do the planning for your week. And so whatever you call it, the reason we call it Sunday night planning, it's your weekly planning. You're planning out the week. But before we get there, why Sunday nights? Look, I've seen traditionally 3 different times people have ran this meeting with themselves. It's either going to be Friday afternoons, it's going to be Sunday evenings, or it's going to be Monday mornings. Let's talk about Monday mornings and Fridays. Monday mornings can often be, unless you get up early, can be pretty hectic. You're into the work week. Maybe you're going to work out. Maybe you have younger kids and they're getting ready for school, etc. And many of you may be starting your meetings at 8:30, 9 o'clock on a Monday morning. So that means you're going to have to get up early to plan some of those things and plan out the week. At that point, for most people, it's a little too late. Well, what about Saturdays? Why not Saturdays? Well, Saturdays, we like to, in architecting our perfect repeatable week, like to architect Saturdays to be free day Saturdays. You got to have one day per week that you get completely away. Now, if you get Saturday completely away and then you use Sunday morning to be with family time as well, by the time you get to, that's about a day and a half or maybe even a day and 3/4. By the time you get to Sunday night, you're going to be probably itching to get back into the work week in some shape, form, or fashion. And I also think that there's value in planning out the week on Sunday night, being able to go to bed at a good time, and then wake up the next morning knowing that the week is already set into place. I think there's a lot of strategic value in doing that. Are you an agency owner looking to grow your revenue, increase your bottom line, and better manage your taxes? Club Capital is here to help. Club Capital is the largest accounting and advisory firm for insurance agents in the country, providing monthly accounting, tax strategy, and CFO services. Way more than bookkeeping and your everyday run-of-the-mill tax prep, Club Capital is focused on providing financial and tax advisory services that help you plan and forecast your agency's performance.
Their financial dashboards and agency forecasting tools help you better understand your agency's historical performance, create and measure future targets, and see how your agency compares to your peers around the country. Imagine what it would be like to understand the impact to your bottom line when deciding to hire a new employee, or forecast the impact rate changes or commission rates will have on your business. With over $200 million in tracked annual revenue and $140 million in tracked annual expenses, Club Capital has the data and the team to help you make better informed decisions for your agency. They will help you turn that back office stress into the backbone of your agency's success by giving you the tools to take your agency and your leadership to the next level. Visit club.capital today to book a solution overview with one of our business consultants. Club Capital, way more than a CPA firm.
Ambition is the first step towards success. It's time to level up your agency. And Coach P Consulting will help you do just that by using the same strategies he used to sell over 700 life insurance policies in 2021 alone. Now, this is not your regular one and done type coaching. You'll get personalized coaching 2 days a week, every week of the month, and you'll get a live look behind the scenes of his team training and an office that's performing at the highest level. There's a reason Coach P Consulting is the fastest growing coaching company for insurance agency owners in the country. Coach P will train your team alongside his own and show you the exact steps they're taking to achieve Chairman Circle, exotic travel, and multi-line presence club, and be one of the few agents to be selected to have a third office. So whether your goal is to be at the top of your local market or amongst the best in the country, this training will give you the strategies and the tactics to get there. For just $250 a month, you'll get high-level coaching each week from someone who is already getting it done at that level, and his strategies work, and it's time to put them to work for you. Sign up at coachpconsulting.com and get your first full month for free when you mention the Club Capital Leadership Podcast.
Well, what about Friday afternoons? I think a lot of times I've had a couple of people just start trying to do this on a Friday afternoon, and then over time, they're playing golf on a Friday afternoon. They're going to play tennis or pickleball or other things are coming up on a Friday afternoon that they just don't want to do it then. And so that leaves us to, well, should we even do this at all? Is this one of those things that's a small hinge that swings a big door? Well, in my opinion, I believe that it is. I believe that this is something that absolutely can set the pace for your entire week. Now, I'm not going to go exactly step by step in this episode of exactly what you do in a Sunday night planning session, but I want to talk about the importance of how you start. And that is to look at your wins from the previous week. We like to say that business is hard and it gets harder. And so because of that, it's hard for us to try to find the wins. In fact, I think the most important thing you can do for yourself is to protect your confidence. And so one of the ways that we do that is by building a routine and a process in place to plan out your week. And the very first thing that you do is to look back on the previous week and to grab your wins. Inevitably, I've done this now for years. Wish I could remember exactly whenever I put this into place. I'm going to say it was roughly 2018, 2019, possibly. I wish I knew the exact date of that, but neither here nor there. I still, to this day, have to go back and look at my calendar, look at the week, and see like, oh, what all did we actually get done that week? And I will every single time remember, oh yeah, I forgot that was a week. That actually was a win. And there have been some tough weeks, some very challenging weeks. And many of you have experienced that. If you've been in business, you've had some weeks that were really challenging. And so it gets hard to try to find the wins. But just doing that exercise, I can find either the win, I can find the progress that we made, even in some of the really difficult, challenging, yucky weeks that we've had in business. I can still try to find the lesson that I learned there. I can find the progress that we made. I can find the, either we were winning or we learned something. And that's kind of an example of that. And so that gives me a lot of confidence that we are making tangible forward progress every single week. So that's number one. I think also, so we've talked about when should you do it? Now, if you're able to do it on a Monday morning, you're able to install that into your structure of your week, then by all means do it. I do mine at 6:30 to 7 p.m., depending on possible kids' activities going on, 6:30 to 7 p.m. So that way I'm done by 8 or so my time. And then I've got that done, and I feel like I've already started the week off with a lot of confidence because I've looked back on the previous week. The other thing that I do that's really important is I will review what is it we're trying to execute on this month. I'll talk about this maybe in another episode, but we have the kind of the cadence of plan quarterly, execute monthly. And so I'll look back on what is it we're actually trying to do this month. And then I'll look at what is it we said we wanted to try to get done this quarter. And that routine that is embedded in that, what were the wins from last week? What was it that we said we were trying to get done this month? What is it we were trying to do this quarter? What is it we said we wanted to try to do this year? And then even for 3 years, looking at my 3-year vision. So that is the lenses that I will look at every single Sunday night planning session that I do. I will go back and say, and I do it in that reverse order actually, is I'll look, what were the wins from the previous week? What are we trying to get done this month? The time that this podcast is dropping, it's February. So I'll look at our February execution document. What are we trying to get done in the month of February? And what did we say we wanted to get done in Q1? Then what are we trying to get done this year? And reminding myself of those things. And then finally, looking at the 3-year vision. So my 3-year vision that I set in 2021 is actually ending this year in December of 2024. And I've already started a document to look at what do I think the 3-year vision is going to be for December of 2027. I don't look at that on Sunday nights, but just saying that I have a document, begin to kind of dump things into that asset. So again, wins for the week, do it Sunday night, 6:30 is 7 o'clock start. 60 minutes roughly is how long it takes. You can speed it up and get through it in, say, 20 to 30 minutes. It can go as long as 90 minutes, depending on the complexity of your organization and how many businesses that you're running. I'll start with wins. I'll look at what are we trying to get done this month? What are we trying to get done for the quarter? What are we trying to get done this year? And what's the 3-year vision? And just those things alone, if you'll just do those things and then start to play into, okay, well, if that's the things I wanted to get done, then I need to make sure that that's it. That's a part of my week this week. So I'll stop right there. If you'd love to access the template, the tool that I actually do use, go to blueprintos.com/assets, and you'll see the Sunday night planning template there for you to use. All right, everyone. Hope this served you well. Till next episode, lead well.